Hey guys, it's Zachary from HardwareZone, and today we're going to be talking about fashionable technology, specifically this little thing here, Fitbit Luxe. And how my opinion may not really matter at all. So, the Luxe. This is Fitbit's latest foray into fashion design, and it looks the part. Right, it's got a stainless steel body now instead of plastic. It's shiny, it's smooth, it's chic. They've even got a special edition that is made in collaboration with a fashion jewelry brand, Gorjana. I think I got that right, but what do I know about fashion or jewelry? I just wear Uniqlo from head to toe. It's functional, it's accessible, it fits. Move on. But beyond the fancy design, the Luxe, it really is just an update to last year's Inspire 2. Now, the Inspire 2 is Fitbit's sort of entry-level fitness tracker. It has the base amount of sensors in it and nothing more. So it's got an optical sensor for heart rate tracking, heart rate variability, stress tracking, sleep tracking. It's got an accelerometer for steps and activity tracking. And it's waterproof, so you can take it for a swim, but that's about it. It had no GPS, no NFC, no altimeter, no gyroscope, and bare minimum of smarts. It can do notifications from your phone, but that's all. The Luxe is basically the same thing with three additional features. It has an SpO2 sensor now, so it can track blood oxygen saturation, it can track skin temperature variation, and it has an AMOLED color display, so it's brighter and more vibrant. But speaking of that, the display is really small. Now, the Luxe isn't exactly a large tracker in the first place, and the display doesn't even cover the full size of the screen. There's huge black borders up and down, and the actual display itself is just this small portion in the middle that's basically about the size of my fingernail. Now, you can probably see where this is going by now. If I continue this review, it's not going to be a very positive one for Fitbit, especially as the Luxe came in at a time where I just finished another video about budget fitness trackers. If you haven't seen that, pop the link up there, you can check that out later. But the gist of it is how low I would go, how much I'd pay for the features I'd get, or the features I'm willing to give up. Now, all those products that I compared in that video were under 100 Singapore dollars. The Fitbit Luxe goes for 198 Singapore dollars, and it has less features than the $60 Xiaomi Mi Band 6. This has a much larger, brighter, functional display, right? Full screen. It has more sensors in it than the Luxe. It has more built-in smarts notifications than the Luxe. And it still has more than double the battery life for about a third of the price. So you can see I have a problem here, that I'm never going to be able to review the Luxe without all these biases coming into play. So I had a brilliant idea. I passed the Luxe off to my wife. Now, she's a person that doesn't actually wear watches or accessorizes her wrist in general. No watches, no bangles, no bracelets, none of that sort of thing. In the past, I've actually tried to get her to use some of these smartwatch or smart bands that I'm testing, right? She won't have any of those. The only one she's actually used in the past, ironically, is another Fitbit. This is Fitbit Charge 4. But the thing is, she's only used this in the context of tracking her workouts during her workouts. This is a tool for her to see how many calories she's burned in a run or in a HIIT sort of session, active zone minutes that she's managed to rack up. And it's only during the workout that she wears this. She doesn't really even care if it syncs to her phone or tracks things like historical data, anything of that sort. She puts it on, starts her workout, finishes her workout, looks and see, oh, this is what I did for this workout, yay, take it off, and that's it, right? It goes back into a drawer or the table, and that's it. So with the Luxe, I kind of told her that you need to wear this for at least a week so that I can get sufficient data from the tracker to do this review. And I made her go through basically all the functions that the watch and the Fitbit app would let you do. And things like the relaxation mode, stress management, menstrual cycle tracking, set up the calendar, just go through all the features at least once. And then I left her alone, right? I just wanted to see what she'd do with it, things that she would use again, she won't use again, frustrations she has with the device, and all that thing. I felt like a researcher. I'm just like monitoring an experiment, right? Now, a week went by and the most interesting thing happened. She was still wearing the Luxe and she didn't really even have any complaints about it. Nothing about the fit, about the strap. There was no skin irritation and she was wearing it everywhere. She wore it to sleep. She wore it in the shower. Yes, I know you're not supposed to wear these things in the shower, but hey, you tell somebody that this is waterproof, you can do whatever you want with it. It's what they do. I'm glad to report that nothing happened to the Luxe in the shower as well. It's still working. Everything is perfect. The most interesting thing is that she wore it outdoors, and that to me is the biggest win for Fitbit, because that tells me she's willing to be seen in public with the Luxe and that it's really more of an accessory to her at this point. Now, in terms of features, she really only uses it to track her workouts as before. Calories burned, active zone minutes are the two main sort of stats she looks at, but because she's wearing it all the time now, there are a lot more stuff that gets synced from the watch to the phone. And I find it very interesting to see how a person who doesn't really track her activity that much start to get sort of like a passing interest in her own health metrics. Like, for example, sleep tracking. She's actually looking at the app now, looking at the sleep score and figuring out what this number is, what the color is, why is it, something like that. It's kind of very interesting to see. I mean, she doesn't use all the features on the Fitbit Luxe. Like, for example, the wellness features, the stress testing. Fitbit made a big thing about this whole wellness thing, Deepak Chopra meditation and all that. But my wife's not having any of that. She doesn't really do meditation. And apart from the first time that we've tried this, she's never really touched those features again. But in terms of other tracking features that are available, if it's in the app, there's some passing interest, there's some knowledge to read, and I guess that's chalks up as another win for Fitbit. The one feature that she really likes about the Luxe is tied to the one complaint that she has about the Luxe, and that's with screen sensitivity. She has a lot of issues navigating. Sometimes it doesn't detect her touch, or it's too sensitive and she accidentally enables or disables something. So because of that, she doesn't like using it in the pool when she's swimming, because when your hands are wet or when the Luxe gets wet, it goes into this water lock mode and you have to like tap hard to unlock it, and she can never get that to work. But because of that, she doesn't like touching it. But because there is auto activity tracking and pool tracking seems to work really well for her, it tracks her laps, length of the pool, all pretty accurately. So she doesn't really have to touch it. She just goes swimming, comes back home, and finds that it's synced to the Fitbit app. And that's great for her. Now that's about it really. Other than the whole sensitivity issue, she doesn't really have other complaints about it. She doesn't really have other wants from it. Certainly not the things I would have used to pick this apart. Like, for example, the 5-day battery life to me feels a little bit low, considering it doesn't have a lot of sensors, it doesn't have GPS. The Inspire 2 had a 10-day battery life. Xiaomi here has a 14-day battery life, but 5 days is long enough between charges that it doesn't seem like a chore. It doesn't mess with the schedule, so she's okay with it. Not having GPS also seems to be my bone to pick and not hers. See, I've realized that even if she went out to runs without her phone and she comes back and syncs all her data, there's never once that she has commented on why some runs have maps and some runs don't. because I realized that she doesn't actually even look at it. You know, she cares about her steps taken, she cares about the calories burned, you know, cardio zones, heart rate zones, active zone minutes, you know, that shows how intense her activity or her run has been. But whether or not there is a GPS route or a heat map, doesn't really matter. What I've learned from this experiment is that Fitbit has finally successfully made a fashion accessory with just enough sensors for people who are casually, and I mean casually, invested in their day-to-day activities. You know, nothing specific, no specific activity, no specific sport, just day-to-day activity, day-to-day health metrics. The Fitbit Luxe is an entry-level activity tracker with a not-so-entry-level price. Now, as a tech guy, I find it really hard to recommend this because the market has, you know, so many other products that are not just cheaper but well-made and work better than this. On the other hand, right, even among all these other devices that, you know, have so many more features, and even Fitbit's own devices, the Luxe has been the only one that has gotten my wife to be more interested in tracking her stats and health. So I guess that's worth $198. Now, what about you? Do you have an opinion about designer tech like the Fitbit Luxe? Or do you have questions about the Fitbit Luxe that you specifically want to ask us? Do you like the format of this video or dislike it? Drop us a comment below. And as usual, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Hey guys, before you go, don't forget to check out HardwareZone.com, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, join in the conversation, like and subscribe to our YouTube if you want to see more of these videos. Do it!